Alrighty, before we continue on, I feel I ought to do a bit of a recap to make sure everybody's all caught up. Oh, quit your whining. Let's get started. After the events of World War II, history diverged down a path of retrofuturism and a perpetual Cold War between America and China. Both countries were fully authoritarian by 2077, when global thermonuclear war ravaged the world. Some survived by luck, whereas others survived in underground vaults. In the centuries since, radiation and mutations have become commonplace, especially when done via pre-war designer viruses like forced evolutionary virus. FEV turned people into varieties of mutants, most notoriously super mutants. An FEV mutant called the Master made an army called the Unity of what would be the first generation of intelligent super mutants, but a Vault Dweller from Vault 13 stopped them and saved humanity. The Father was an FEV mutant trying to rebuild the Unity, and in 2239 he used kidnapped women, FEV, a deep-sea slug with regenerative properties called Project Chrysalis, and a sample of blood that he believed to be from the Vault Dweller to make a bunch of fertilized zygotes that he implanted in human hosts in an effort to develop an immortal being. One promising sample divided into twin zygotes, and while he kept one of them, he sent the other twin zygote with a super mutant called Auntie to the East Coast to find a more effective strain of FEV. When Auntie set out eastward, Father's children were born in Fort Dagger Point in 2240. The Father arranged for the newborn experiments to be placed in the wasteland in the hopes that they'd be raised conventionally within a vault, and in 2241 they were found by the Exodite New California tribes. The West Coast twin was named Angel, and among those adopted into the Orion tribe specifically, who branded babies with little blue stars. In April 2242, an FEV mutant named Naoran lost control and massacred the entire Orion tribe, except for the children. Wasteland scouts from Vault 18 found them and adopted them into Vault 18 to supplant their aging population. The Star Children were considered siblings, including Angel, Jason, Mandy, and Sean. Dr. Rossman was the closest thing they had to a father figure. The experiments that Father had done became known as Project Brazil, and Angel was the only one with a working regenerative parasite in their body among the children. In 2255 it became too much for her, and her organs began shutting down. The Vault 18 scientists did a series of emergency transplants with as many organs as they could salvage into an Ares android in storage. Angel survived, but now had the provocative body of a sex bot. And Project Brazil survived the transplant. In 2257, Auntie acquired a sample of the Vault 87 strain of FEV in the capital wasteland on the East Coast, and was able to infuse it into her stunted twin zygote successfully. She captured a human woman named Catherine and forcibly impregnated her with it. Catherine killed Auntie in revenge but kept the pregnancy. In July 2258, she died in childbirth to a baby boy, naming him Angel just like his counterpart. Catherine's husband, James, and their other daughter Amanda took refuge in Vault 101, where this Angel would be raised. Meanwhile, the 18 version of Angel was being trained as a scientist and technician. However, on the night of the November 2260 election, the losing candidate, John Bragg, incited a coup and revealed himself to be an agent of the Enclave, a defunct fascist state trying to rebuild America. In the civil war that followed, the Overseer detonated the vault to end the suffering of his people. Only a few managed to escape, including John Bragg, Chevy Bragg, Angel, and a group of her friends, and some robots she managed to save. Angel found a capsule that gave her a vision of the future where aliens invaded following a future fascist named Arthur Maxson gaining power. However, she and her friends were soon after captured by the Raider Alliance as slaves, but she managed to defect to their enemy, the New California Republic. With their help, she rescued her friends, but now she was indebted to the NCR. The NCR was fractured in this region, the pass, between the military and corporate sectors, as represented by General Silverman of the Army and Senator DeVille of the mob. Despite their wishes, Angel deferred to the tribes of the pass in her dealings. Upon revisiting Fort Dagger Point, the Unity made an offer for her to join and contribute her strange biology to their genetic library, which she violently rejected. Eventually, Angel aided Kieva liberate the tribes that were enslaved in the Raider Alliance, killing the despotic Els Dragon that ruled over them, freeing the Black Vultures, Psychonauts, Survivalists, Vault Vikings, and Vipers. She also visited the Ghoultown Odyssey and stopped a serial killer there. Angel killed Duville and supported Silverman's push for a battle between the NCR and the Unity, where the liberated tribes aided the NCR and the Enclave aided the Unity. Angel and her friends confronted the Father, who had fallen into a delusion that he had recreated the same confrontation between the Vault Dweller and the Master. Despite the revelations of their origin, they defeated him and the Unity. Then, with the aid of Anil Aran, they defeated the Braggs as well. The Enclave had implanted Project Brazil on their own, which had spread to the Braggs, Anai, and Anai's compatriot. Despite Anai's past, Angel fell for her and begged for her to stay. Anai promised to distract the others while Angel launched the nuke, as the thrust would incinerate them all, and not even Project Brazil's so-called immortality could survive that. Angel did not honor Anai's last wish, instead doing a test burn, eliminating everyone else with the regenerating parasite, because she didn't want to launch a nuke that could kill whole populations. Angel then ordered the death of Silverman, and the tribes turned on the NCR, capturing Fort Dagger Point with the active nuke. In December 2260, Angel and Kieva reorganized the tribes into a Shi alliance that included every tribe in the pass, and they negotiated with the NCR leveraging their nuke. In 2262, the NCR called their bluff, forcing the Shi alliance to relocate to a place called the Divide, and despite the setbacks, the Shi alliance and the Divide flourished. By July 2268, the 101 version of Angel was 10 years old. Meanwhile, the NCR and Caesar's Legion began encroaching upon the Divide. In August 2270, the 18 version of Angel was acting as a courier when a secret package that the NCR had sent activated nuclear codes for nukes beneath the Divide, massacring the NCR, Legion, and Shi alliance that were there at the time. Angel's friends from Vault 18 had long gone their separate ways, and only a few survived the event. Angel only survived because of Project Brazil, which began to falter from overuse. In October 2270, the Shi alliance fled eastward, where they were captured and enslaved by the Legion. Caesar was impressed enough that he allowed Angel and Kieva to be part of the only unit that allowed women to serve as centurions. However, this unit was far too successful, and Caesar worried about their growing influence. In November 2271, he sent them on a suicide mission to be done with them, but Angel used it as an opportunity to fake her death. She prepared for her newfound freedom and learned about her counterpart in the capital wasteland. Unsure of what else to do with all of her people dead or enslaved, she headed eastward in May 2272. After finishing the trek, she rescued a robot from the National Archives that believed himself to be Alexander Hamilton, and since Vault 101 refused to open the door, together they set up a memory transfer outside the vault so that her counterpart needn't be left alone in the dark about all that had happened. Unfortunately, the process put the 18 version of Angel into a coma. In 2273, the organs of the 101 version of Angel began to shut down, just like her counterparts had done. The scientists of Vault 101 found an extra Ares android that had been left there and saved her just like had done before. Angel was transgender and welcomed the change in body type. In August 2274, she took the GOAT test, which assigned her the role of pedicurist per Vault 101's tyrannical system. When the 18 version of Angel awoke, she was tired of waiting for the door to open and decided her mission to the east had concluded. She would return westward to hopefully make a new home and rebuild. In August 2277, James escaped Vault 101 to return to a humanitarian project called Project Purity that had been his life's goal prior to having children. The police state of Vault 101 reacted violently, killing his friend Jonas, and began hunting down his children. Angel killed the overseer and escaped with her sister Amanda. A time traveler from the future approached Angel, which unfortunately distracted her while slavers captured Amanda and took her away. Angel read the logs of her counterpart and downloaded her memories, finally uniting the two sets of memories into the same body, though she still had a counterpart out there somewhere westward. Angel at least had the preserved brains of Mandy, Sean, Jason, and Rossman that she intended to use to bring them back in robot form at some point. Angel set out into the capital wasteland to try to get her family back. She started with Megaton, and while she instantly fell for Moira, she ensured during her stay that 4 authoritarians died. Lucas Sims, Mr. Burke, Colin Moriarty, and Jericho. She then visited Paradise Falls, where she had to buy Amanda back. She also bought some other slaves' freedom. As Angel recruited allies and explored the ruins of the former capital of America, she learned of some nefarious pre-war companies like Tiger Manufacturing. She visited the capitalist town of Canterbury Commons and took on a pornographer position to at least get something good out of it. From there, Angel visited the clones of Vault 108, helped Moira make her Wasteland Survival Guide, and followed James's trail to Galaxy News Radio, where she met the Capital chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel, a fractured state that tries to preserve technology. The DJ, Three Dog, would tell her where her father went in exchange for some technology, and so she went to the National Mall to gather some. She explored the various museums and met the irradiated ghouls in the town of Underworld. She continued to explore the ruins of Washington, D.C., and helped rescue Riley's Rangers before taking on a job that might help them build relations with factions within the Brotherhood. In November 2277, the Brotherhood Outcast plane crashed in the Midwest, and Angel found herself in Alton, Illinois. She met the Underground Railroad, a group of survivors on the surface of the region who were being attacked by the plague, survivors from Vault 59 who wanted revenge on the surface for centuries of neglect. Angel sided with the surface and defeated Stephen Clark and the rest of the plague since they refused to let go of their hatred. She then learned to drive a pickup truck on her way back to the Capital Wasteland. Angel made her way to Rivet City, where she met the Project Purity scientists and learned of other androids made by the Institute. She followed her father's trail to the western part of DC and met more Brotherhood outcasts. In January 2278, she participated in their pre-war simulation of Operation Anchorage and had to relive the battle in a virtual Alaska. After exiting the simulation, she learned more about how cruel the outcasts and the Eastern Raiders were before arriving in Vault 112, which had its own simulation of an idyllic American suburb. She ended the Vault Dwellers' suffering and rescued James from the simulation, confronting him about his awful parenting. He left to work on Project Purity, and she said she'd catch up with him later. Angel explored the Manchester estate before discovering Vault Ale underneath lollipops, and that her porn magazines were funding treatment for DeLeon syndrome. The CEO, Larry Slater, was increasing revenue by marketing to pedophiles, and Angel put an end to that policy along with donating all of her proceeds to the treatment. She then visited the National Archives and convinced a robot with the personality of Button Gwinnett to stand down, before dealing with some feral ghoul federal agents Larry had condemned. Afterwards, she caught up with James in Rivet City just as they were going to the Jefferson Memorial to try Project Purity again. That's when the Capital Enclave made their move in February 2278, attacking the memorial and capturing Project Purity. When Colonel Autumn killed some scientists and confronted James, James flooded the room with radiation, killing himself and hopefully Autumn. But Autumn had taken an anti-FEV serum to survive the ordeal. Angel, her friends, and the surviving scientists fled to the Citadel to ask the BOS for help. The Elder, Owen Lyons, committed the chapter to war with the Enclave to protect the people of the Capital Wasteland. Angel met the members of the BOS, including Arthur Maxim. Angel tried to get out of DC, helped a scientist captured by raiders, some robots and androids, an immortal psychic, and the Antagonizer. She returned to Vault 101 and killed the new Overseer, but her childhood friend Amata took power and exiled her from the Vault once more. Amata's cousin, Brisa, left with Angel. She then stopped the cannibal family in Andale and integrated humans and ghouls within Tenpenny Tower. In March 2278, she accidentally activated the Old Cube experimental project and had to survive the onslaught of the automated systems within it, only surviving because a robot saved her. Afterwards, Angel went to a Nuka-Cola museum, a cave full of children, a town where she started dating a girl named Bittercup, Vault 106, an unnumbered vault, a town in an overpass, and a metro full of vampire-like mutants. She then freed a super mutant named Fox from Vault 87, but when she tried to get the Geckin there that could be used to perfect Project Purity, the Enclave ambushed her. Angel, Amanda, and Brisa met with President Eden, the Zack's computer in the Enclave base, Raven Rock. When Eden tried to force Angel to go along with his plans to poison Project Purity with FEV, they set him to self-destruct and escape the base. Amanda grabbed a crate with James's body, and Fox rescued them as the base detonated. They had a funeral for him near Rivet City, and they made their way back to Vault 101 upon receiving an invitation from Amata. Angel helped relocate an escaping synth and a doctor from the Institute to Vault 101 to help them recover from past administrations. She then found out about a pre-war professor that had discovered how to get so high that one could access the dream world. Nice. She went through several mortal challenges there, ended his suffering, and returned with a tiger weapon. She then received a call from help from Werner, an escaped slave from the pit. In May 2278, she infiltrated the pit as a newly acquired slave and worked her way up from within. She had to kidnap a baby that was also the cure to a disease called TDC to support a slave rebellion that ousted the slavers for a more equal society. She returned to the Capital Wasteland and killed the remaining slavers in Paradise Falls. She found Oasis, with greenery that grew from the suicidal tree FEV mutant named Harold. Despite objections from the cult of tree minders, she had sex with him and granted his wish for death. She explored the musical Vault 92 and then attempted to democratically unelect President Dave and his republic. When that failed, she just killed him instead. The Enclave then kidnapped Amata, and Angel had to break her out of an Enclave Theta 7 prison. She also freed an AI called Blue Queen, who relocated to Vault 101. Angel and Moira began dating in Torren, DC, but Angel went on a vacation to Point Lookout, where she immediately got caught in a dispute between two old men. She read the pre-war stories there, forcibly got a minor lobotomy, helped the tribe, killed the old men, and saved a woman named Nadine. She became corrupted by an eldritch book she found, but she fought off the influence of a dark god and burned the book. She made the trip between the Capital Wasteland and Point Lookout a few more times in late 2278 to get the materials to unearth a tomb to learn the fate of some long-dead folks. Angel helped create an AI called Mantis by taking simulations from him to earn his respect, and she put her affairs in order before the inevitable battle. The BOS got the pre-war weapon Liberty Prime online, and in January 2279, Angel aided them in their war against the Enclave. Unfortunately, Amanda was killed in the battle, but Angel exacted her revenge upon Autumn. Fox volunteered to go into the irradiated chamber of Project Purity, purging it, saving the wasteland and paving the way for clean water. Angel awoke from a short coma to find the BOS had taken over Project Purity and was continuing the war with the Enclave. She joined them in an assault, but the Enclave used a military satellite to take out Liberty Prime. In February 2279, the BOS armed Angel with a Tesla cannon and sent her through the presidential metro to Adams Air Force Base to scout out the Enclave there. She set the satellite to take out the Capital Enclave's last remaining base as the BOS arrived for support and extraction. Now a decorated BOS soldier, she supported Moira's co-op, established Megaton Towers with her, married her, and then settled down with 3 adopted children, Brian, Penny, and Joseph. However, when Angel checked in on Project Purity, she saw the project was being extremely mismanaged and undermined by Scribe Bigsley with the support of reactionaries within the BOS. After trying to fix various problems he caused, she resorted to assassinating him, and she killed Arthur Maxson while she was at it to prevent his fascist rise to power. Now a fugitive, she bade Moira farewell and escaped on a boat to Maddox Island, where she got a job to crack open a bank. In April 2279, Angel and her new friends asked Jimmy Goldman, a veteran on Maddox Island, about the bank, but a group of slavers called the Pirates captured and enslaved them. Jimmy helped Angel escape, and they began to gather all of their allies on the island to try the bank heist one more time, starting with folks in Vault 89. They unlocked gates and vaults around the area, with Angel taking Vault 98. During the bank heist, Angel's friends, the Pirates, the BOS, an exiled group of outcasts, and a surviving contingent of Enclave under Commander Newman all had a standoff. Angel talked them down and convinced them to form an uneasy alliance for all of their sakes, though they still killed Angel's former friend Sam. Together, they opened the bank vault and found a simulation where high-ranking people from before the bombs had survived the carnage they wrought upon the world. After brokering peace, Angel returned to the Capital Wasteland, but then she was abducted by aliens. The aliens controlled 2 motherships, an underwater base, and a colony on another planet, and they were an exiled imperialist regime called the Zetans. Angel escaped from the holding cells and found that the Zetans had been abducting people for centuries from across the planet and doing cruel experiments on them, even creating hybrid abominations. She freed surviving humans she found, including Soma, Sally, Elliot, Paulson, and Toshiro. They staged a revolt to take over the mothership, but one alien named Javik betrayed the Zetans to assist their revolt. The Zetans responded by threatening to destroy the Earth with a death ray, but Angel and her friends disabled it. The underwater base created the Tyranids to use as weapons against the human uprising, but they lost control over them and died to their own creations. The base's captain's last message was to tell the other mothership to destroy Mothership Zeta to prevent the humans from taking control of it. Angel and her friends indeed took control of it, and they blew the other mothership out of the sky. Angel then received a distress call from a unit of dissident Enclave forces under Commander Harkin, and she decided to make them an offer. If they gave up their old ways and reformed, she'd allow them to escape the forces of the Capital BOS and rival Enclave factions like the Eden Loyalists by following her up to the recently captured mothership. They agreed, and through 2279, they together formed a new state called the Terran Starship Command, and Angel was made the Supreme Commander. She hoped this compromise could be used to reform the former fascists while making the wasteland a better place for everyone. Unfortunately, her relationship with her wife and kids was irrevocably stained by her absenteeism and other mistakes. The TSC eventually began an initiative to make themselves known to the capital wasteland and approach settlements with offers of alliances to unify them under a coalition they called the Terran Peace, modeled somewhat like the United Nations of the Old World. Angel personally visited Rivet City to ask the Chancellor and Council there to join, and in time she convinced them to do so. Meanwhile, the original Western BOS had implanted spies within the capital chapter, and one of them, the Crimson Rose, made herself known to the TSC. Under the guise of a loaded deal, she spoke to Angel and attempted to steal alien technology and military intelligence. Angel responded by escorting her off the ship, and the Crimson Rose declared that refusing to give the BOS the alien technology would be a declaration of war. In the meantime, the TSC had a council meeting where they decided to recover a generator from the destroyed mothership, since Angel had destroyed all the alien generators aboard the TSC's mothership, the Olympus. Angel led the Artemis team on a mission to the moon, where a chunk of the mothership had crashed, but they were forced to flee through a malfunctioning teleporter that took them to the underwater base. They downloaded alien blueprints from the database, fought off the mass-produced Tyranids, and returned to the Olympus after being rescued. Angel investigated Project Erebus that Commodore Harkin had established behind her back, met with the captured Zayton Javik, and she confronted Harkin, who confessed the war crimes he had done under the Enclave. She made plans to investigate further, but first she had to make a speech in a ceremony in Rivet City celebrating the Artemis team's achievements as a show of morale to the capital wasteland. During her speech, the Western BOS attacked, driving an airship through the hull of Rivet City and sniping Angel. She only survived due to a force field council member Archangel had given her. The TSC fought off the assassination squad of Western BOS, but many soldiers, citizens, and wastelanders had been murdered, including most of the Artemis team. The TSC Council had a meeting to decide whether to respond offensively or defensively to the declaration of war, and Angel made the deciding vote to react offensively to mitigate the conflict. They decided to invest in new power armor, and Archangel sent Angel on a diplomatic mission to a newly discovered group across the world called the Reborn Coalition of Soviet Nations, which occupied much of the former territory of Russia. The RCSN's leader, General Orlov, was implementing reforms to the totalitarian state to make it more equitable, but the new Bolsheviks attempted a coup during the diplomatic visit to prevent reforms and keep the Soviet doctrine. Angel defended Orlov, acquired the Russian power armor, and made a new ally for the TSC. When she returned, she visited Poseidonis, the TSC city that had been established within the former Zeton underwater base. The city was so opulent and luxurious, for elites only, that Angel broke down upon realizing she had just created a new bourgeoisie in the TSC. Unable to destroy the TSC, she resorted to naming her successor, Sally, who she believed would be more capable of reforming them than she had. In December 2279, Angel abdicated her position as commander and went into retirement, while hoping to escape the mistakes she had made. She went to East Anacostia and took a job to rescue a runaway girl. She had to go far to track her down, all the way into Canada, through a teleporter into Japan, and onto the Orion's Gate Zayton Space Hub. She met some friendly Zaytons who predated the Imperial regime, discovering that they were making a last stand from their colony using a lethal alien virus to wipe out humanity. She defeated the Zaytons on the alien planet and then in Egypt, where she found the girl and cured her of the Dark Star virus, preventing the world-ending pandemic. Angel teleported back to East Anacostia and spent some time with the locals there, aiding them in various ways in the capital wasteland. She then turned to trying to fix her past mistakes by forging a capital alliance, separate from either the BOS or TSC. She was successful in getting the idea off the ground, and with the help of Underworld, the anarchist philosophy soon spread throughout early 2280. Eventually, the whole capital wasteland was included in the Capital Alliance. Even members of the BOS and TSC, organizations that were seen as allies to the new form of self-governance, with a total of 21 sub-communities. Angel also assisted Moira in writing the Dream World Survival Guide as a sequel to her Wasteland Survival Guide, and she also gave her caps away to an estranged family as a form of alimony. The Capital Alliance no longer needed Angel to unite them, and so she left for Maddox Island. Upon receiving word that the Alliance there, the Maddox Accord, had made their way into the simulation, Angel had a chip installed into her brain that allowed her to go inside the pre-war simulation of the pre-war world, and she spent the latter half of 2280 systematically hunting down the powerful men who had escaped inside it for both answers and for retribution. Eventually, she emerged with her mission complete, and she found that the capital wasteland had moved on without her. She bade farewell in Galaxy News Radio and rode a train from Union Station in the hopes of going to this New Vegas place she had heard so much about to start anew. Recap officially over and back to them regular episodes. Get the fuck out of here. Go home. Go home. It's all over. It's all over. It's all over but the crowd.